Muy buenos días, buenas tardes, buenas noches, amantes del rock y del metal. Bienvenidos y bienvenidas a Conexión Rock Radio en una nueva video entrevista aquí en nuestra sección de internacionales. Johnny González les saluda en este día y como siempre les invitamos a que nos dejen su pulgarcito arriba y que disfruten de el contenido que tenemos para todos ustedes en esta oportunidad. Y hoy tenemos una banda muy pero muy interesante en el radar y que ya viene con noticias muy interesantes en este.
Uh-oh.
Y
Sorry.
a la banda Imperial Triumphant, que ya en este año 2025 se dejan venir ya con una nueva producción discográfica y que tenemos aquí al otro lado de la cámara a Zachary Ezrin, que es la mente maestra detrás de este interesante proyecto. Zachary is a big pleasure had in this interview here for Connection Rock Radio for the people here in Latin America and rest of the world, of course, who wants to know about the upcoming new stuff Imperial Triumphant have in 2025. Welcome.
Thank you so much for that incredible introduction. It's so nice to be on your show.
Start my interview with you this day. The band had good news for the fans around the world. The release of Goldstar, this is the album number 6 in the discography, appears in March 25 via Century Media Records. I had this personal comment to you toward this new album. Since their inception, New York City has been a thematic pillar in the music for Imperial Triumphant. With this new record that is candidate for the best releases in 2025, what new dimensions of the city do you seek to explore in previous records in the musical universe for Imperial Triumphant?
Great question, Johnny. It's it's never like a something I seek out really. It's more just like I try to let the ideas come to me and maybe do a little like learning or research or listening, but it's really just always comes organic. So a song could just end up being like a love letter to a giant skyscraper, or singing about so many different aspects of the city, and also not just the lyrics, Johnny. The
Mhm.
music itself is inspired by New York City, and the way that we play and the riffs that come out of it can be a direct inspiration to, I don't know, like riding a grinding subway train through 14th Street.
We know that there's a lot of Art Deco elements featuring your covers. Like example, in this case, the cover of 2020 Alphabet.
Mm.
How does this aesthetic translate into the new cover of the album? By the way, the interpretations about the urban opulence and chaos there in New York City.
Great question. It's the same artist, in fact. It's Zbigniew Dibielak, a Polish guy. He did Alphaville and he did this one. And he's got a very big architectural background as an artist, so it really works to us and works to our benefit. And it's sort of this one's sort of inspired by vintage cigarette advertisements, and so we played with that color palette and this kind of vibe. And yeah, architecture is just a huge part of a band that's from New York City.
It's very interesting about your last answer, Zachary. It's been mentioned that the album has more direct approach to songwriting. Uh,
Hmm.
Experience in touring like bands like Behemoth, Carcass, and Celebrado, the influence and the way that you structured the tracks for this new album. I had the feeling perhaps this is not the most powerful record in the discography, but it's a kind of winner for the new fans and the people that follow you since the first days.
It's a different record, and I think it's important for us to always try to make a different record. No interest in making the same thing over and over.
I had a personal comment about the cover of the album, Zachary.
Tell
Uh,
me, Johnny.
the film Metropolis portrays a dystopian city where opulence and decadence coexistence. The same way goes for New York, and I had the feeling that Goldstar reflect the golden age, the skyscrapers, the nightlife, the cabarets. many people consider New York City the cultural capital of the world. The idea of the title of the band is a bit heavy. I don't know. You want to reflect the glory of the old days of New York City in Goldstar.
That's an interesting take. I really appreciate that. I mean, look, there's definitely a strong connection between Gold Star cover and Metropolis, and obviously because we're both taking inspiration from New York City,
Mhm.
and I think New York City is definitely a city like that, that was once glorious and great, and is now sort of just rotting, you know, falling apart. So I definitely think you're somewhat right in there. I never thought about it like this, but I like that, Johnny.
You have working with great iconic musicians, like example Dave Lombardo, Yoshiko Hara, and of course Thomas Hack on this album. How did the participation influence the dynamics and song of the songs that you and this special guest collaborating for Goldstar?
I think that whenever we work with an artist, it's important that they're going to elevate the music to a place that we couldn't bring it to ourselves, you know? It's important that they understand what we're trying to do and are hip to the vibe. And we're very, very fortunate that we were able to work with the artists that we are because they're just so talented and really make the song special and unique.
I want to say you the song Lexington Delirium has been described as a kind of ode to the Chrysler building. How did you translate the majesty of this iconic structure in this song?
Great question. Great question. Never answered that one before. I guess if I had to think to translate the grandeur of it, you know what's great about Lexington? We always called it like the ballad, you know, because it's in a key and we never write in keys really, and it's a tonal song, and it's simple. As far as Imperial Triumphant goes, it's pretty simple, and I think it's a bit bolder when you go simple. So I think it's a very bold and elegant track that sort of uh, just tries to pay a humble tribute to our favorite skyscraper in the city.
Appears another tracks interesting numbers like sample Gomorrah Novux, a pressure dome. You incorporate influences the Brazilian Nuevo and Maracatu music. Very tribal, by the way. What led you to explore these traditions and how do you fit into the identity for Imperial Triumphant, especially in these two tracks?
Well, Gamor Nouveau is one that I wrote, and I was listening to a lot of North African Ganawa music at the time, and really, really just admiring the rhythms and the structures of the kind of music, and thought like, oh, maybe I want to try writing something that's not obviously the rhythms in that song are not traditional Ganawa rhythms, but they're inspired by it, and so I'm really, really happy with how it came out, and I think it's a unique track that maybe I wouldn't have been able to write if I wasn't listening to non-metal music. And then Pleasure Dome was written by Kenny Grohowski, and he and Steve Blanco, but the part with the maracatu is a Kenny track idea where he said, you know, he grew up playing a lot of Latin music, and he thought it would be a cool idea to try bringing in the Brazilian maracatu rhythms into a metal song. And so we said, okay, let's try it. And I'm really, really happy with how it came out. I think it's such a unique and cool and kind of, what did I call it? I called it tropical noir in the studio, and I got a huge laugh from Thomas Hawk, which is, you know, that was my only goal, was to make him laugh once, so I was very happy about that.
Another interesting point in this promotion of this new album is the videos. The work that Steve Blanco did on Hotel Phoenix, for me, it's the funny point of the album. I was looking forward that the puppets were saved after the process when shooting the video, but sadly, appears skeletons in blood at the end of the video. But it's part of the magic. It's part of the magic. I must to say you, I enjoyed the video, the animations that Steve worked for this song. I want to know, are you and Steve looking for make more music videos in the future in this kind of formula, like Hotel Phoenix?
Probably not,
Mm.
because that video, I didn't work on that video. That was a Steve joint, and I didn't work on it because I knew stop motion animation is very hard. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time, and he told me he was like he worked harder on that one video than I did on the three other videos. So I don't know if we'll do something that challenging in the future. My goal with music videos is always what's the coolest thing I can do that's like the simplest idea. You know, like Lexington Delirium is like, okay, the band's on the Chrysler building. Or Mercurius Gilded is like, okay, we put all these crazy characters in a crazy location, shoot double speed, and we just have one shot zooming out. That's the whole idea. So it's one location, one shot. We just got to choreograph it and shoot it a bunch of times, but that's it. You know, I like simple, creative ideas. I think that is a fun challenge that makes it not too much of a slog when you're actually shooting it.
Quick parenthesis, Zachary. What are your personal thoughts about the work that Colin Manston and Arthur Riggs did for the production and mastering for Goldstar?
I'm very, very proud of it. I think, Colin Marston, we've worked with on every single record. He's a member of the band practically at this point. We love Colin, and he understands what we're trying to do before we even understand it. He's so good. And Arthur Rizek was a new guy. We knew that we wanted to try a new engineer, and so we try out a bunch of different mastering engineers, and I think we decided to go with him. And he really got a great balance of like bringing out the biggest sounds he could, but still keep it like an organic sort of vibe and not. I really can't stand a lot of modern metal production. It's too clean. Nobody sounds like they're playing together. It's just like every note is crystal clear. And to me, that's just not that rock and roll. I like things a little fast and loose and crazy. And, a lot of I feel like the best metal records are like just teetering on a little, about to lose control. Like I like that shit.
The theatrical aspect has been fundamental in your live performance, Zachary. What new visual or conceptual experience can the fans expect for the band now with this new album? And of course, are respecting the tours.
Well, I can't give away all of our plans for the stage production, but I will say, obviously, we have new masks and new stage costumes, and everything's got to change. Everything's got to be updated. We have a new album, a new logo, new masks, new costumes, new music, and a new stage show. So we're really looking forward to it. And also, the stage show will still change. Even once we figure out a new thing, like everything that we've done in the past has come about so organically. All of our stage moves and ideas, and it's like just that we do what feels right. And so we're gonna just keep doing that, but try to change it up.
How did you balance the creative freedom with the more conscious structure you impose for Goldstar in this case?
Well, that's the challenge, right? And I think the way I looked at it is that we're gonna still write the same crazy riffs, but maybe just cut all the fat. So it's super lean, only the best sounds and the best ideas stay. And maybe even challenge ourselves as experimental musicians to write something catchy, like try to write something memorable. That's not that easy when you're coming from the world that we are, but I think it's a good challenge because, it's Spirit of Ecstasy was such an experimental record and so dense and maximalist that it makes sense that on the next record try something more lean and more simple and bold.
Mhm. Now, with 6 albums released in your career, Zachary, how do you feel? You and of course Kenny
Great.
and Steve make a big history so far
Yes,
that has generated recognition and admiration all over the world.
absolutely. It feels great, and I'm proud of all the work we've done. We spend a lot of time working really hard. Every step that we've gotten forward has not been given to us. It's always been through hard work. Nothing is free. But at the same time, I always try to look back and see how far we've come and appreciate everything that we've achieved because you got to enjoy the ride.
Something fascinating besides your music are your mask. The people would think at first glance that the band wants to keep their identities a kind of secret. We had example Wada, Batushka, Garea. How did that curious and attractive idea come about?
Well, when we started, we there weren't that many bands doing masks, and I think it started really with like we were talking about corpse paint and painting up, and we were just like, it's a pain in the ass. It's just schlep. When you're done with the show, you just take the mask off, and you're back to civilian mode. So that's kind of convenient. And I think the idea with our masks in particular were that we wanted to do something really different and true to New York City and sort of terrifying in a way that's more esoteric and apathetic. Like they're not scary Halloween masks. They're just a little like, just some fucking guy. Like they don't make any expression. And I think in the context of our music, that's really fucked up. So I like that. It's not about hiding our identity. Obviously, I'm doing this interview without a mask. You know my name. Everyone knows my name. It's not about being anonymous.
Many people have mentioned that Imperial Triumphant wants to be remembered. It's a kind of band to be pushed in the boundaries of metal. What do you consider to be Goldstar the greatest contribution to this part of Imperial's history?
Yeah, I think we really pushed ourselves on this record to do something different, step out of our comfort zone, and hopefully open the floodgates to new fans and inspire other musicians.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Zachary, what message do you want to send for all the people that enjoyed this interview? And thank you so much for your time that grant you in your house. And we're looking forward to talk again in the future for Geek Continuity, the history, the music that a great band like Imperial Triumphant.
Thank you, everyone who's ever listened to our music, bought our records, bought our merch, bought tickets to our show. If we haven't played in your town yet, we hope to come soon. And thank you again for all your support. Bye, Goldstar.
Bueno, damas y caballeros, ustedes han escuchado nuestra entrevista aquí con Zachary Ezrin de la banda Imperial Triumphant. Así que pues por ahí en la descripción del video ustedes van a estar manteniéndose en contacto con la banda en sus redes sociales, van a escuchar su material en digital o si lo quieren tener en físico también, ahí les vamos a dejar el enlace para que ustedes puedan comprar su material y que puedan apoyar a esta interesante banda. Soy Johnny González, estas fueron las entrevistas internacionales en Conexión Rock Radio, pendientes de la próxima de nuestra serie y como siempre les decimos a todos ustedes en cualquier parte del mundo que el rock y el metal no falten siempre en su dieta diaria. Que la pasen muy bien.